I decided to check out some other books by Keigo Higashino and discovered that Newcomer was actually part of a series. So I decided to go back and read book 1, which is called Malice. The main case in this story is the murder of a famous novelist who is discovered dead in his own home by his wife and his friend, who also happens to be a writer, although his focus so far has primarily been children's stories as opposed to literary novels. Like, the deceased is currently embroiled at the center of some major controversies regarding his work, because many of his most recent famous novels have been based on his own real world experiences. A lot of his characters and events are all people and things that really exist or really happened, and he's being sued by the main character, or not main character, by the person he based this one major character in his most recent publication on, because it harkens back to his days in school where there were some really serious issues with bullying, and the main bully's family, even though the guy himself is now deceased, is really upset with him for what they see as him sort of dragging his name through the mud and besmirching his reputation, even though he did do all those really horrible things. So anyways, like I said, he's kind of at the center of some scandals going on. So Detective Kaga is one of the investigators assigned to this case, and he begins to dig into the relationship between the witnesses well, they're not really witnesses, I guess. I'm not sure what you call the people who find the body, main suspects and the murder victim, as well as just everyone involved in these people's lives. And it's interesting because he actually knows the primary suspect. The other writer, both he and Kaga actually used to be teachers at the same school. So you get a lot more about Kaga's own history in this book, primarily on what he did before he joined the police force. He was a teacher, and what he saw as his major failure, I guess, in that profession, and what possibly, I guess, spurred him to make this career change. So unlike Newcomer, this story is structured much more like what I would typically expect of a murder mystery. It's primarily told in rotating first person between the primary suspect and Kaga himself. So you do get a lot more on what he's actually thinking, which you didn't really get much of in Newcomer. So it's also sprinkled through with his interviews with people as he's looking into the victim's background. So something that I liked. I did kind of enjoy learning a bit more about Kaga's history. I would never have guessed that he used to be a teacher, and he was such a mysterious kind of character in book 2. It's kind of interesting just to get a look at what he's actually thinking about, since they kind of make a point of obscuring that in the other book I read. It was also kind of interesting, the focus on people's psychology in this account. It goes into great it does a really good job portraying the way how people relay certain stories, and the way they choose to reveal certain facts can completely alter a person's impression of someone. You definitely have to revise your thinking several times over as you move through the course of the story. On the whole, though, I did not really enjoy reading this book. It was while it was a very well put together murder mystery, I just tend not to like stories that have really large sections on the potential killer's point of view and things like that. And like I said, it was a much more typical kind of murder mystery than Newcomer.